On to business. Stephen's joining me here on set. He's starting today with the latest on the engine failure on a Boeing flight. This was that flight from Denver this weekend, wasn't it?
That's right. The Federal Aviation Administration has now ordered airlines to inspect planes with certain Pratt & Whitney engines for cracks before allowing them to fly again. That's after the weekend incident in which a Boeing 777 jet suffered an engine failure minutes after takeoff in Colorado. The plane landed safely, but all models using the same engine have been effectively grounded after the incident. Air accident investigators say a part of the turbine showed signs of metal fatigue. The FAA has now ordered a thermal acoustic image inspection of the engines, which are used in around 8% of Boeing 777 aircraft. Pratt & Whitney, the manufacturer, say they'll carry out the necessary checks on behalf of airlines.
Now let's turn to the car maker. This is Hyundai, a major recall of electric cars.
The company is to replace the battery systems in more than 80,000 electric vehicles around the world due to the risk of fire. The latest move applies to its best-selling Kona model, which has first been recalled in October for a software upgrade. But after one of the recalled vehicles caught fire in January, Hyundai is now investigating if these upgrades were sufficient. The recall is going to cost the company the equivalent of around €740 million.
Next, we're going to talk about the financial results. This is from the French hotels group Accor, based just along the road, in fact.
That's right, 2020, a terrible year for the hotels industry. Accor, no exception to that. The company losing almost €2 billion last year. Its net losses. The company owns brands including Ibis, Sofitel and Fairmont. Revenues were down by 60%. Accor says there are signs of recovery in its business in Asia, Africa, the Middle East and South America in the final months of 2020. Let's see how all that's been going down on the markets for you. Shares in Accor Hotels starting the day down, not by much though. More broadly on European markets, London FTSE 100 starting the day in the red with small gains in Paris and Frankfurt. We've got sharp falls, though, across Asian markets. That's down to fears of higher interest rates to come, despite assurances from the Federal Reserve Chief Jay Powell that rates would remain low for as long as needed. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng down 3% after the city's finance minister announced an increase in stamp duty in his latest budget.
Elon Musk now, he's no longer, poor chap, the world's richest man.
Again. This keeps happening.
Flip-flops.
He's trading places with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos at the top of the Bloomberg billionaires list. The Tesla boss took the top spot last week, but his company's bet on Bitcoin has caused worries on the markets. A plunge in Tesla stock this week as Bitcoin prices have fallen has wiped around $19 billion off Musk's fortune. He's now worth around $7 billion less than Jeff Bezos. Musk may have himself been to blame for some of the Bitcoin price falls that spooked Tesla investors after tweeting that the price did, quote, seem high, lol.
That's a bit of a... Yeah,
he's still worth around
your own back.
He's still worth around 180 billion, though, so I'm just too sorry for him.
Exactly. I don't feel that sorry for him. Here in France, talks over food prices are heating up.
That's right. This after major protests by farmers, the French Parliament back in 2018 passed a law which calls for annual talks over the prices paid to food producers. It's a contentious topic, and even more so this year when many people's incomes have been affected by coronavirus. Many farmers say they're not earning enough to cover their costs. Yinka Oyatade has the story.
As talks on food prices reach crunch time, farmers are piling the pressure on French supermarkets with protests at shops and warehouses. The negotiations are taking place under a law passed in 2018, which aims to ensure farmers are paid a fair price for their produce. The goal of the legislation was to make buying practices more transparent, but many say they are still losing money.
À l'échelle d'une exploitation comme la mienne, c'est 12 à 13 000 euros de manque à gagner. Il y a de la déception et de l'écœurement puisque c'est quelque chose auquel on croyait et ça, c'est pas appliqué. Et on comprend pas pourquoi c'est pas appliqué.
The talks take place among farmers, co-ops, food processors and distributors. They negotiate how much the food will be bought for, which then has an impact on the final price for shoppers. Retail bosses aren't willing to make concessions. They say consumers can't afford to pay more.
Nous sommes dans une situation économique dans laquelle un tiers des Français sont dans le rouge à la fin du mois. Il faut donc un équilibre entre l'augmentation de ce qui est payé aux producteurs et la capacité à payer des consommateurs français.
In an effort to improve the negotiation process, the French government appointed the former head of a major supermarket chain to review it. He says greater consideration must be given to the cost of producing food.
Ces indicateurs de coûts de production doivent figurer dans les contrats commerciaux et doivent garantir le prix payé aux agriculteurs.
The French agriculture minister agrees. He wants more checks on prices to ensure that profits are shared fairly.